Hi, my name is Tara Kachaturoff, and I'm the host of Michigan Entrepreneur, where we feature businesses from startup to stellar. I want to thank our sponsor, MichiganVirtualAssistant.com, for making this program possible. Today I have as my special guest Bernard White and Donovan J. White. Bernard White, welcome to the show. You are the president of White Construction. In fact, you were one of our original guests on the program, and Donovan J. White, you are the VP of Construction for White Construction.
Yes.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
So we go back 13 years. You were in our very first year. You are our sixth guest on Michigan Entrepreneur 13 years ago.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that we can have you back this year to talk to you about what's been going on with White Construction and the transition to your son Donovan as you move away from the business to do other things and philanthropic pursuits, and
Yes.
Donovan takes the helm of the ship.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about White Construction, and then Donovan, you can talk about what you're doing at White Construction as well. So,
Well, I started White Construction 29 years ago, as you may know, and I had worked prior to that time at two construction companies for 8 years, and even prior to those 8 years, I had worked at the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, and I decided to become an engineer while working at the Water and Sewage Department, and after I graduated from LTU in 1980, I decided to say, could I go to a warmer climate and maybe get a better job in a warm climate? And so I ended up working with Turner, which was a great opportunity for me right here in Detroit. And I learned a lot of things about construction management at that time. And after about 8 years at Turner, I decided to start White Construction. Never dreamed it would get this big. My goal originally was just to maybe be able to pay my house note and take care of my family. But there were so many opportunities in the city of Detroit for companies like my own. Because I had the education and the experience, I think I really excelled and did real well. But we've had a lot of great opportunities to work on a lot of great notable projects in the city of Detroit, in and around the city of Detroit. And if I name some of them, people would be surprised that we had the chance to do them.
As you refer to as the hat trick from hockey. So why don't you talk briefly about the three big projects related to the sports community in Detroit? And we have a whole book here of all the things you've done well, not all of the things. These are only some of the things you've done in the city of Detroit. But yeah, why don't you talk about the three things that relate to Lions, Tigers, Red Wings. Correct.
Well, my nephew Milton Jennings, who worked with us in business development, when we got the last project, he said that's a hat trick. And what he was referring to is that we had started off working on Comerica Park as a JV partners. Yeah. We moved to Ford Field. We worked on JV partners there at the prime level, and also lately at the Little Caesars Arena at the prime level. So he said, hey, that's a hat trick. Yep. We've had a chance to work on all three sports facilities, and that's been great. And Donovan has been working on Little Caesars Arena and got some great experience there. So we just feel very good that we were selected to work on all three of those projects and be a big part of Detroit's comeback.
And this whole book that we're going to show in a little bit, which is about your story, your life story, and what you've done in the city of Detroit. And we'll show this book more and talk about some of the things that you've done in the city of Detroit.
Yes.
An amazing legacy. I couldn't believe it, page after page. It's an amazing book. We'll talk about that in a moment. Donovan, I want to talk to you a little bit. You are the VP of Construction. You are taking over the helm of White Construction. And tell me a little bit about how you've grown up with the company and what this kind of means to you in terms of taking over and leading it into the next era.
Next chapter of White Construction.
Continuing
the legacy of White Construction.
The next book.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's what I'm working on right now, Tara. Even as a young child, I think 10 or so, he would bring us down to the office on Saturdays to help clean up, vacuum, sweep, to help keep the office clean. And at that time, I really didn't know. He would take us out to the job sites. I recall going to a McDonald's that he was renovating, and he would, let me walk around the side with my hard hat on, not thinking I was doing something, just, I guess, getting experience and getting the acknowledgement of this is actual career that I could move into. As I graduated from high school, he allowed me to work with white construction while I went to school at Lawrence Tech during the evening times. So I was gaining my education in the evening while at the same time gaining some experience as an assistant engineer. After I obtained my degree, I obviously went project engineer and have worked through the ranks. Project
Are you
engineer.
civil engineering? Is that
Yes,
your
civil
background?
engineering, yes,
Okay.
correct, from Lawrence Technical University. And went from project engineer to project management and continued to roll up the ranks. Operations manager, now I'm VP of construction with over 20 years of experience. And as you say, I've been managing, he's allowed me to manage the company to kind of let me get my feet wet before he fully transitions the company over me.
And
So
moves
I've-
to the warmer climate, right?
Yes, if you will. Enjoy
Leaves you
some
with
of
the snow.
adventures. Yes.
Yeah.
But leave me here to continue to build upon what he's grown to be a great general contracting firm in Detroit. But I want to continue to expand that. So not only in Detroit, but also the surrounding communities. And if we can go national, that'd be my goal. Yes.
Do you remember the first time you received a hard hat to wear? Do you remember that? Do you remember that time?
It had to been when I was out of high school.
Out of high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I probably, sure, wore hard hats, you know,
Yeah.
just cleaning the office or doing other things, but actually getting out on site
Yeah.
and having your hard hat and glasses and actually being able to sit and while you supervise and manage the constructions where they bring it to successful completion. I mean, I love construction, and this is what I want to do. He asks me all the time, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Yeah.
And I keep telling him,
But
"I'm positive this is what I want to do."
That's a great thing for a dad to ask, because there's a lot of pressure from successful dads for sons and daughters, and that's great because, you know,
But sometimes they don't know what they're getting into. So
Right.
that's why I'm giving him a great taste of it now, so he can see what it's really like.
Yeah, and you've got to see your dad through the years and all the things that he's had to do, and the you know, and the relationships you have to build, and just I mean,
Absolutely.
so much.
Hard work, determination.
It's so much more than just the engineering.
And a smidgen of good luck as well.
Yeah.
You're going to need all of that.
Well, I don't know. I think you make your luck. I think
Well,
you do.
preparation,
Yeah.
reach opportunity,
Yeah.
then you're able to be successful.
I have a question to ask you, because I know your dad started in drafting, and you started really young in drafting, and you were in high school. I was reading your story in here, which is so great about this book, because you tell your life story in here and how it all unfolds. But you started with drafting and then was working, going to high school and working for the Detroit Water and Sewer as a draftsperson, and
Yes.
more productive than the people who were already experienced there. I mean, when you were studying, did they still have drafting? Is drafting still something they have, or is it's all quite different from?
It's quite different.
It's quite different now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
in fact, we really don't have blueprint CPS anymore.
Yeah,
We
it's
have
all-
blueprint
yeah.
drawings digitally.
It's all
so
digital and
it's changed a little
Yeah.
bit because of technology.
I mean, back in
but
my day,
the-
they still taught drafting in high school. You know, it was a very different time. So yeah, I was just wondering how it was. So 20 years you've had growing up and watching this and being involved in the day-to-day. What's been the relationship between the both of you? And I'd love you both to comment on it as you've done this, because you've got two personalities. You've got different skill sets. I know you're both professional engineers, lots of experience, but what's it been like working with each other? What's it been like?
Okay, first, I'm not a professional engineer yet. He is a professional engineer, but
Okay.
I will be obtaining that.
Okay.
He continues to push me
All right.
forward to obtain that. So,
All right.
But I think anytime you have a father-son working in the business, it's a little bit different because he always wants the best for me. So he's always pushing me harder, or critiquing me, if you will, to improve me, or to improve my appearance, to improve my speech, to improve my education. So we've had a relationship where he's always allowed me to grow and to push me to greater heights, to push me to achieve great accomplishments. So I'm actually glad that I have a father in my life that is able to continue to push me beyond limits that I would even potentially push myself. And he's very knowledgeable, so I always come to him for guidance on things that I may need a little assistance on, or in the past, how did you handle this? And he would share his knowledge and experience with me.
And what are your thoughts on the relationship that you have with your son here? And I know you got to be really proud, because this is a big thing.
I am proud,
I mean,
and he still has a long ways to go, for sure. But for me, it's been really nice to watch him transition as a young boy, and watch him go through college. And maybe I would say maybe 15 years ago, he was kind of tentative about whether or not he wanted to get into the business. At least he wasn't really all the way in. And maybe over the last 10 years, it became very apparent that this is really what he wanted to do, and he started applying himself. So just to watch him grow from one level to another has been amazing. And to see him say, yes, I want to take the helm, I want to do this, and he's starting to improve himself. He's very good at technology. He helps me out with a lot of things that I don't understand. So he's been a real good go-to person. So I've really enjoyed watching him go, and it would be just really great if he could continue the company and go forward. I do believe, however, that some of the opportunities that I've enjoyed over the last 29 years at White Construction, it's going to be a little bit harder for him. So we talk about that, and so I think he can continue with White Construction, but it's going to be tougher, I think, going forward with the opportunities that are presented for us as compared to what we had when I was along there. But I'm very proud of him, and I'm happy that he's focused, he's working hard. And one of the things that I really noticed about him, whereas before I would probably say things to him or suggest things to him, he might halfway listen, but really now he really listens.
That's what every kid does.
He really listens intently now, and it makes me say I got to be careful what I say, because he's paying attention to what I'm saying, and I got to make sure I say it correctly.
He was always paying attention.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that was a different way.
Yes.
What do you admire most about your dad, and what do you admire most about him, and what's one of the most important things he's taught you as eventually eventually CEO of this company? What has he taught you that's so important? If you could pick one thing, that's hard, but
it is a hard one because there's
so
multiple.
Yeah.
But I would say, do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
When you say you're going to do it.
Yeah.
I think if you follow that pledge, you will be just. You'll be fine if people know that when you say something and when you say you're going to do it and it's done accordingly to plan. I think that's key to any type of communication and a relationship.
And that's something like you could see in your story about you coming in under budget and before deadlines and all that sort of thing. It's part of the work ethic.
It's very important in construction.
Yeah.
You got to do what you signed up for contractually, and it's got to be done on schedule and to the specified quality. So if you do that constantly, that's how you build your reputation up, and you continue to get more work. And people say, yes, they know what they're doing. They will get the job done. It's not a risk in working with them. And we take very good pride in delivering our projects to over-deliver our projects to our customers and exceed their expectations, quite frankly.
And that's why you have, next year, 30 years of evidence of what you've built in Detroit. I mean, that's amazing. All the things from schools to municipal buildings to sports arenas to churches, like retail, like bank and other types of things. I mean, it's just amazing what's in this book. The Detroit Zoo, all the work you've done at the Detroit Zoo, it's just phenomenal. When you look at your journey forward, what do you think is going to be some of your bigger challenges, or as you take this business? Because you know your father's style, his management, and now you're going to be putting your own brand on that, your own imprint. What do you think are some of the challenges of doing that while still keeping that family legacy and those foundational principles in play?
There's always going to be challenges. That's just the nature of the business. But first challenge will always continue to be obtaining and getting new work. That will continue to be a challenge. You have to please and get new clients and keep your current clients happy with the productive and successful work that you're doing. A second challenge I would like to note is getting and keeping qualified and experienced staff.
Is that challenging in your work?
In our industry,
it seems like it's challenging
somewhat
everywhere.
Very challenging, to say the least, to not only obtain, acquire, but also keep the staff and keep them happy. You want to make sure that the morale is up and that they're happy to be building and working for you. So those are two challenges that I definitely see that we would have to continue to work on to make sure that we're a viable and successful continuing company.
Now, with getting the work that, I mean, you have to know a lot about not only Michigan, but the city of Detroit, where many of these things are done, although you do things outside the city of Detroit. You have to really have a lot of relationships with people, with government, with, the community, with, I mean, there's so much to do besides just building the building. I mean, there's so many things to do, and
Yes.
to knowing people and creating relationships and having that support from them in both ways. How do you do all this? I mean, I know it's long hours and 7 days a week, but that's a lot to do, because it's not just about a bid, it's about knowing people and knowing you're going to have subs that are going to come through for you. I mean, you have to have a lot of people in the food chain that are going to perform so that you can perform. How do you do all this? How do you cultivate this?
Well, it is tough, and relationships, like you said, is very, very important. And it's extremely hard for me because I'm an introvert, even though people don't believe that I am.
I don't believe it.
And but so you have to maintain relationships. But for me, I think the thing that has really helped us move forward is our great reputation. And when people check into you and find out what you've done, they call the previous customers, did they deliver the project? How was it like working for them? Or they visit the project that you did, and they're like, wow, did they do that? And they did it all by themselves. So that reputation, I think, precedes everything. But relationships are important. Relationships with subcontractors, with your employees, as Donovan said, and maintaining relationships with your clients, that's very important. But I think mostly if you do a great job and people want to work with you and they like you, and you can be competitive, you can get it done in a specified time and also with specified quality, that will speak for itself, because that's what customers want. Who can get this job done? Who can give me a good price? And that's what they want at the end of the day.
And everything you do is by bid, right? Like everything's submitted. I mean, in the building industry, I don't know a lot about it, but everything is a bid, correct?
Well, it's
is
a
that
bid.
how it is?
Sometimes it's bid. We do hard bid projects where everybody just put their best number together based on the specifications. But there are also times when you can present your experience and your staff and the type of projects that you have done that are similar, and say, hey, we've done these type of projects before.
And they can outright
And they can just say,
take
I'm going to pick you based on
Okay.
your qualifications and experience. Yes.
And the thing is that, I mean, you literally have, I mean, there's probably 100 different buildings in this particular book, which is your story, called Built in Detroit. That is like, you have something really tangible to show people, like, yeah, we built that. Like, everybody knows these things. I mean, I was reading through there and like, yeah, I know all the, I know a lot of these things. And it's like, it's amazing because I guess I really didn't know the depth and breadth of all the things that you had done. And many you've done since the 13 years ago when I first met you. So many things have happened. I do want to talk about this book. I'm going to hold it up so people can see the title of it. So this is a book about white construction and the various these are not all the projects, but some of the premier projects that you've done in the city of Detroit and around in other areas. And it's, what I like about the book is, in the beginning, there's your story, and your story is amazing. And there's like letters from Mayor Archer, and I mean different people in here, pictures of like people everybody knows, like President Obama. I mean, various people in here. Your grandmother, who was inspirational, and all these different. There's 2 pages of buildings. These are just the ones featured in the book. The Detroit Zoo, so many different things. This book, why did you write it? Why was now the time? Why was this the time?
Good question. I wrote it, Tara, because I wanted to, when I looked at all the projects that we have done over the years, and I looked at all the different photos, I said, wow, we have been involved with a lot of things. A lot of people don't really know what white construction has been involved with, but I wanted to document what we have been allowed to and what we've had an opportunity to build in Detroit, because I'm, 25 years from now, 30, 50 years from now, I would like maybe some young kid to look at it and say, wow, we didn't know that a contractor did this, a black contractor, African-American contractor. And so hopefully it might inspire some young kid when they hear my story and how I worked through Detroit public schools and did the best I could to work my way through night school and build myself up. It might inspire them to try to pursue their dreams. So that's why I wrote it. And so when I give money to students for education and scholarships and books, and they read my story and they hear about my story, it helps inspire them to know, hey, maybe I can do this too. And I want them to know that I was once where you were, and if you work very hard, get a great education, when you get to be a man or a woman, you can do anything you want. And that's the kind of thing that my grandmother told me so much as a young adolescent when I was growing up in her house on the upper flat, and she would fix breakfast for me every morning and just continue to preach to me about get the best education you can, work very hard, and when you get to be a man, you can have anything you want. And I trust her intelligence, and I also entrust her integrity, because she had a college education also from the South.
That's right, yeah.
And so I listened to her a lot, and she was point on.
Yeah, and what's so neat is like you could literally take a walking tour of Detroit and use this as a walking tour to educate kids not only about construction but about architecture. And
absolutely.
I was thinking like, God, this is a great book for classroom use as well,
Yes.
From that standpoint. And this is also, this kind of for STEM. This is supporting the whole STEM thing, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
And so this is a fundraiser, raising funds for this, for the philanthropy to make scholarships for college students, African American college students who are pursuing
Yes, I started the W. Bernard White Education Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And our website, if you want to purchase the book, is www.educationfoundation.org. The book is for sale for $55. It's a hardcover, coffee table size book. And all of the proceeds go to the W. Bernard White Education Foundation, and we take that money and we give it to African American kids who are pursuing education in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So last year we gave $10,000 to 20 students, $500 a piece, so they could use it for their books and stuff. And a lot of kids may have their room and education paid for, but they may not be able to buy their books and other things. So you sit there and you talk to the kids and they tell you about their stories and what they want to be. That $500 is a big, big help to them, and it makes me feel better than they do, because I've had a chance to give back. The year prior to that, we gave $5,000 to we gave $10,000 to 20 students last year and $5,000 to 10 students the year before that. So it really makes me feel good to help kids out who are pursuing STEM.
Now, while Donovan's going to be taking over the helm and a lot of everything running the business, which is a lot, what are your plans as you go forward, as you turn things over to him? What do you want to do? Are you going to be moving to the sunny climate, the warmer climate?
Well, I do have a place in the sunny climate that I go to quite often. So I do get a chance to get out of the cold weather.
Okay, good.
And I like that. But my plan is to continue working at White Construction in some form or fashion. So I come in 4 days a week now. I don't come in as early as I used to. I definitely don't stay as late. So I'm there to help give him advice and guidance and help out with big plans and that type of stuff. So I'll be around, because I realize that I can't just stop cold turkey. But I'm working a lot less harder now, and I'm just letting him carry all the heavy weight, and I might give him a push here and a push there. And I'm enjoying that, quite frankly. I'm enjoying just kind of taking my chance of kind of getting away from it. And I want to go into I was telling someone outside that I want to go into study astrophysics and astrology and learn more about how the universe works. Neil deGrasse Tyson is I'm a big fan of his, so I'm learning a lot about the universe. I'm just enjoying learning something totally different. And it's a little bit of engineering, but it's just, I like to learn about real things. Engineering is real, science and technology is real, and learning about how our universe works has been a lot of fun. So I'm going to be taking a lot of classes in astrophysics and that type of thing.
Good for you. That's great. I'm glad you have that to do, and still being around, if Donovan needs your advice on something or whatever. So Donovan, now you're going to be, I assume you're already doing a lot of day-to-day management. You've been doing that, but finding good people, that's going to be one of your big challenges going forward. So how are you going to attract people to White Construction in the new era? How are you going to do that, or what are your ideas on what you want to do to make that the place to come if they want to grow their careers?
Good question. Right now, we're continuing to obtain work. First, they want to make sure that they're gainfully employed. So we want to make sure that we have continual construction projects to assign them to. Secondly, you want to be able to have a nice salary. Salary, benefits, those things are the things that allow and attract and also retain employees. So we have, a good HR system where we're allowed to retain and keep our employees. But even with the perks that you offer your employees, employees, you still have to go even further. You have to make sure that they're happy. You have to make sure that they're challenged in their work. You don't want anybody coming into work and twiddling their thumbs and, on the internet, on Facebook or something else
Playing
like that.
on their phone all day.
Right. So make sure that they're challenged to continue to be productive. But there's no real small answers for that one. That's more of a complex answer, if you will.
Do you offer internships for people from like LTU or anything like that? Do you have interns come in from time to time to work?
Yes, we've had interns come in. We had interns last summer and the summer before that. So it depends on what project we're having, being able to assign them to. We want to just bring an intern in just to, like I say, just to bring them in. We want to make sure that they're getting some learning and some experience to a possible career. So yes, we do have an internship program, and we like for interns from the different colleges, universities to apply, and maybe they can gain some experience with white construction.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to have on the resume and possibly a career in the future. I know we've come to the end of our time. I know there's very little time and there's so much more to talk about. But Donovan, you can come back in the future if you'd like to talk about the show. I'd love to hear about more what you're doing in retirement. We could do something on what entrepreneurs do when they retire.
Sure.
Because it would be great to find out more what you're doing, because that part's important too. That's
Absolutely.
part of the entrepreneurial story, is what you do afterwards. With the minute left, I'd like to just ask, what's your advice to entrepreneurs?
I tell people when they ask me that questions, a lot of times, number one, cash is king. You gotta, when you get paid, you gotta make sure you invest in your business. You gotta make sure you put money away for a rainy day. Don't go out and start buying, nice cars and doing this and thinking it's gonna be that way all the time, because you will hit some hurdles. Make sure you take care of your clients, because if you don't, someone else will. That's very important. And like Donovan said earlier, make sure you do what you say you're going to do when you say it, you're going to do it. I mean, because your trust and your integrity are very important. That's how you build up your reputation. And once you build up a great reputation, the work will start coming to you. You have to do less sales, and you have a lot more opportunities to do performance. And when you start doing great jobs, signature type projects, that'll help with the situation with HR and employees, because employees will want to come and work on some of these great projects. I mean, White Construction is working on the Port Authority downtown, campus marshes. You mentioned the stadia that we worked on. We worked on, we did the M1 rail stations, the 20 M1 rail stations.
It's like, what didn't you work on?
We did the wildlife interpretive gallery. It's just a great opportunity. So you just do your work well, and work will come to you.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, W. Bernard White and Donovan J. White. Thank you for being guests on the program.
Thank you for having us, Tara.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If you'd like more information about our program, please visit us at www.michiganentrepreneurtv.com. Please join me again in the future when I interview another enterprising entrepreneur. Until then, wishing you the best of business.